Hello, everyone. It's Ashley Maltz, the founder of Austin Wellness Collaborative. We are here with a special Corona Series presentation by Anthony Palomba. He's going to teach us about shamanism and how it relates to the current quarantine and COVID-19. So, Anthony, introduce yourself, tell people where they can find you, exactly what you do, all the things.
Well, thank you, Ashley, for having me on this coronavirus series. It's been just great to be able to be a part of this and just, be able to, during this time where we're all kind of stuck inside, be able to share with each other. Yes, I'm a shamanic healer. I practice Andean shamanism, which is energy medicine that comes from the mountains of Peru. Basically, the name of my practice is called Thaknosis. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, it's THAKGNOSIS.com. Basically so I have a healing practice, and I'm also a member of the teaching staff at the Austin Shamanic Center. And for those of you who don't know, the Austin Shamanic Center is a school of Andean shamanism that we have here in Austin, which we are very lucky to have. I went through the energy medicine program there, and had graduated and now started my own practice, and also I'm a teaching assistant there. So I wanted to take this time to just kind of give you guys maybe an introduction to shamanic healing for those of you who've not familiar with it. I'd like to start that by perhaps maybe giving you some insight on my journey of healing. I don't think I ever set out and thought that I would ever take up this path. But for me, I found that it was really just me following my path of healing. And a lot of that for me was, a lot of that was in my 20s. I dealt with a lot of depression. I, kind of grew up in an emotionally and physically abusive family environment. And so, obviously that's kind of the stuff that we come into this world having, just these experiences, and they have an effect on us, obviously. And so that was, what I dealt with a lot in my 20s, and it finally got to the point where probably my early 30s that, I experienced a real, what you could call, I guess, just a collapse of my reality, and really this, having gone through a terrible breakup with in a relationship that just kind of sent me into this downward spiral, into depression. And so, for me, this was one of those moments where I knew that I was heading into a place that was a place that I did not want to go. And really, honestly, it's that place where people don't come back from. I don't feel like that's ever a choice that I would ever want to make, but I found myself going into this place. And I think the thing that saved me was awareness. It was the awareness of what I was heading to, the awareness that I was heading towards that place where people don't come back. And so that awareness really made me go, oh my God, I need to do something about this. I need to start really taking my health seriously, instead of kind of living a life of suffering. Because I think at that point, I didn't realize what was happening, what the suffering was. So to me, this is a really important like point in my journey of healing. It was the moment where I chose that I wasn't going to live that life anymore. I wasn't going to live that life because basically I knew where this was going, right? And so that was really the beginning of this journey of healing that brought me to where I am today. And, you know, I got a therapist, we started working on it. We started, you know, literally excavating the layers of my psyche, literally, as we getting in the dirt and finding pieces of myself, right? We slowly started to put together this picture of, and I can kind of think of that, I kind of think of this picture as a mosaic. And the mosaic is you. The mosaic is your being, right? Your beingness. But it's the pieces of you that you're integrating into this picture of who you truly are. So I started doing this process, and I tried many modalities of healing. And each one of them, you know, got me further along in that process. But it wasn't really until I discovered shamanic healing that literally the light was turned on and I could see everything. I could see, you know, why this had happened to me, why I had suffered so much, right? And so, you know, and in particular, this was the shamanism from Peru. And for those of you who don't know, I'd like to just share a quick visual with you guys, so that you can kind of get an idea of just the shamanic traditions really around the world. And you know, shamanism again is the oldest spiritual practice in existence. It is our relationship with our world, with nature, that has been the source of our knowing, right? And so all you know, these are examples of different shamanic traditions. You know, Chinese, obviously, Asian cultures had their shamanic traditions. Siberia, East Indian. Native American, obviously, is one we're very familiar with. Aboriginal, and West African. So, you know, all these different cultures represent their own. They have their own flavor of shamanism. But underneath that, underlying that, is an expression of connection and knowing, right? That is really unites all these different expressions of shamanism. So the shamanism that I'm most familiar with is Peruvian shamanism. So in my journey of healing, I was brought to work with plant medicine, and in particular, ayahuasca. And to give you an idea of that this tradition, which is the Shipibo tradition of Peru, and there's many other tribes in Brazil, Peru, Ecuador, that use plant medicines, but these are for the most part curanderos who use plant consciousness to diagnose patients and prescribe other plants to help bring balance into their energetic system. So for these shamans in the jungle, the plants are their interface to consciousness. So you can think of this reality, right, as a living dream, right? It's actually projection of consciousness, right? So what is amazing about the plant, the curandero traditions, is they use plants, which are themselves consciousness, and they take it within them. They ingest this plant consciousness, to help them change their perspective. And the plant consciousness actually aids them in being able to see energy, being able to diagnose illnesses, and to tell them what other plants might be necessary to help aid this person in their healing, right? And so, you know, this is you know, and of course, you know, there's many plants in the Amazon. It's never ending, and you know, ayahuasca, mapacho, sanango, mercura. These are all just some of the plants that they use. There's countless, but really, the plant medicine that I really was a big part of my healing was ayahuasca, which is a vine that grows in the Amazon, and as you can see here, this is the vine, and then it's combined with the leaves of the chacruna bush to create a tea, which they boil. And so this boils and it reduces, and then in the ceremony you take this tea, and the only way I can describe this is it's the most profound healing experience I've ever had. And the only way I can describe it is in my perception of it, is it creates a bridge between this reality, which is consciousness, an expression of consciousness, creates a bridge to the out to the larger consciousness system, and it allows my awareness to cross over into that space, and I experience whatever I need to experience to aid in my healing. It could be a passed on loved one. It could be some ancestral, you know, someone from my ancestors. It could be a past life experience. But really, all these experiences are meant to help recalibrate my existing thought forms, and so you can really think of it as literally being able to wipe clean the slate of trauma. And so I've experienced many things, but I would say the most important thing I learned of all my journeys is that I'm loved unconditionally. And you know, that maybe some people know that already, but for me, I didn't know that, because I grew up in the environment that I grew up in, where love was conditional, and really that love depended on the well-being, the mental state of other people in my family. So love was not conditional, and really what I got from that experience was that I don't know I'm loved. And so, you know, these are the experiences that you have, you know, during the ages of, you know, 1 to 8, you know, maybe up to 10, right? Where it's very hard, if you don't have the experiences, to later on in life, for somebody to be able to give you those experiences, you know, for example, in talk therapy, or, you know, cognitive behavioral therapy, because it's not a cognitive process. The true awareness that you are loved unconditionally is really a somatic experience that is really challenging to heal later on in life. And so really, this experience that ayahuasca taught me, which was the most important experience, is that I'm loved unconditionally. And literally every cell in my body knew that I was loved unconditionally, that I was created from love, that I am created from the fabric of love, and that it can never be taken away from me, because I am love, that I am created from love. And so that's what unconditional love meant to me. That's what it was showing me, that it's unconditional because it can never be taken away from you. And let me tell you, that just was like, oh, wow, that just totally just wiped away huge swaths of trauma in my life. and really altered my relationships, right? Because once you are operating from a place of real self-love, unconditional self-love, it alters all your relationships. You no longer are searching for this externalization of love in your environment, right? Looking for it in people, looking for validation in a job, seeking for these external sources, which you will never find, because they will never feel that, they will never create that experience for you. So it was like, yeah, that was, just that one lesson was I could have stopped there and um, and been just fine. But but I went on, and I went even deeper down into this. And it was through this plant medicine that ayahuasca showed me my spiritual heritage. And so my spiritual heritage is Andean shamanism. So this is the Andean shamanism that comes from the mountains. And shamans in the Andes are called Pacos. And they're actually Andean priests and mystics that live in the region of Queros. And really there's many villages and tribes of that around in the mountains. But Pacos work with energy medicine, and they directly access and move energy in order to bring energetic system into balance. So this is a really important fact that unlike the jungle shaman traditions, there are no plants. Well, plants are not the main energetic interface to consciousness. This is purely an energetic practice. And so the spiritual interface they use to interact with the energy of their environment is the Andean cosmovision. And so, if the best way I can describe this is the Andean cosmovision is a cultural energetic perspective that allows them to access consciousness. So it's literally their entire view of the cosmos. And again, these Andean Pacos live in the mountains. We're talking 13,000 feet. It's a very inhospitable environment. So, but this is where they live their lives, and it's a very simple life. They tend to their alpacas, they plant their potatoes, and they weave. And it's that simple life that allows them to be so attuned to nature, so attuned to the energetics of each other, so attuned to their animals, so attuned to their crops, that any little distortion of that really could translate to a matter of life or death in this environment. And so over their whole evolution and existence of their culture, and again, this culture is the descendant of the Inca Empire, right? So it comes from a very, royal lineage, I would say, of a very advanced civilization. And we're not talking like thousands of years ago. We're talking about 500 years ago. That these are the descendants of the Inca civilization, and all their spiritual practices, all their energetic practices, the way they view their reality as energy, that the Andean cosmovision allows them to view their reality as energy. And that is what makes the Andean cosmovision so amazing. And that when you step into that, you are using tools that are really allow you to master your energy. And so I wanted to show these pictures of just, the Andean, indigenous people, because they're just such beautiful, humble, warm people. And I just, yeah, these pictures are by Jimmy Nelson, who travels the world taking pictures of indigenous cultures and and their spiritual practices. So yeah, I just wanted to share that for those of you who may not know what the Andean culture is. So yeah, so just wanted to share that really quickly. So with that, you know, so the Andean cosmovision is the ability to interact with energy in your environment, and really their view is very simple. The way it breaks down into when it comes to healing and your well-being is there's two types of energy in your reality. One is Sami. Sami is you can think of as the energy of the infinite creator, or another way I like to think of it is it's the energy of the love and light of your being as well. So Sami is this good energy, and we want to have it. We want to have it. We want to have it flowing through us. Another quality of energy that in this tradition is called Hucha. Hucha is heavy energy. It's neither good nor bad. It's simply Sami that has slowed down and become very dense, right? So when we become sick, so the ending perspective of you becoming ill is that you have too much Hucha accumulated within your energetic system, right? And so what does that mean, right? So, you know, as in this, again, this reality is a projection of consciousness. So as the energy comes in from the spirit realm beyond, this energy enters into your reality, and it starts to encounter the parts of your psyche that have been shaped by trauma. It can be trauma from your childhood. It can be trauma from an ancestral family you know, occurrences and choices. It can be past life stuff, but really our experiences growing up are really kind of the primary source of this. So this Sami hits this Hucha, and it starts to slow down, and it starts to distort, right? And it starts to become denser and denser and denser, right? And this Hucha can even form imprints, right, of a very painful experience. So as you go through life, this Hucha starts to accumulate on the inside of your, in your reality, and it starts to create disease. It starts to create suffering. So it can be on the mental level, emotional level, and eventually, if these things are not cleared at the mental, emotional level, these start to manifest themselves as physical illness. So really, the whole idea of the Andean tradition is to really remove Hucha. By removing Hucha, we start to make space and allow for the flow of Sami to flow through your system, right? And so this idea is not really new at all. A lot of other traditions have this. For example, Qi and stagnant Qi are the similar idea, right? If you have stagnant Qi, you want to move the stagnant Qi out so you can get Qi flowing. And so you could think of, you know, Qigong, and I love Qigong. It's such a really amazing practice. But what's really fascinating about that is that's sourcing from something, right, that you can think of as an indigenous healing modality. Qigong is also an indigenous healing modality that has evolved from the Asian cultures. And what I find interesting is they saw the similar patterns, right? The similar behavior of energy. And so for me, you know, as you know, although I focus on the Andean tradition, you know, really all shamanic traditions are fascinating to me, because each one is showing you some truth of your reality. Where did that truth come from? That truth came from the knowing that we had of our reality and how it operated. You know, we once were very connected to our reality. We were so connected to it because we were living from a very heart-based space. And of course, you know, as human evolution happened, somewhere there was a divergence where we left that space, you know, and went into a space of the mind, right? And so, you know, a lot of this knowledge is still there to help remind us of our origins, right? And so, so you can find parallels in a lot of these shamanic traditions, and it's a really so to me, you know, the Andean tradition for me is a really beautiful tradition in its simplicity. So again, the simplicity is you remove hucha, you get the flow going of Sami, and that helps you promote well-being. So you know, what I do basically in my sessions is working with clients is I'd like to show you a couple tools that I use. So one of them is my mesa. I don't know if you could see this. This is all Andean shamans have a mesa. And it is basically it's a bundle of medicine stones. And these medicine stones are used to help remove hucha. And basically, you know, clients will come in, you know, they'll take one of these stones and they'll blow the energy of whatever they're working on in the stone. And I then use that stone to help bring forth the hucha that is in their energetic system, and help them remove them. And there's other ways, you know, I use this rattle to help rattle a lot of the hucha and break it up and move it out. But a huge part of what I do to remove hucha is also calling in all the energies of the Andean cosmovision. And in particular, you know, there's some very powerful energies that are the mountains, the Andes mountains, right? There are 9 major mountains. And so when I do a session, I open sacred space and I literally call in the consciousness of these beings of nature, because in the Andean cosmovision, all beings, everything is a being, right? So how is that possible? How can you call in mountains, right? So again, you're in a projection of consciousness. You're in a living dream. And the beauty of what the Andean tradition allows you to do is it allows you to move energy from point A to point B through your intention. And so literally that's what I'm doing when I'm calling these mountains in. And the intention I'm setting is to help aid the client. May these energies help this client in their healing. And so, you know, calling in the energies of these mountains, calling in the energies of animal archetypes that are part of the Andean tradition, the snake, the jaguar, the hummingbird, the condor. All of these impart a very special expressions of perception, special expressions of knowing and information that help me as a healer to again move hucha out, and help break up these imprints of trauma, because ultimately, you know, the traumas that we have, you can think of, you know, these imprints are, you know, you can think of it as, again, you're in a projection of consciousness, right? And you experience something so terrible that literally your whole reality collapses. And you don't have the ability to deal with it because maybe you were a child, and you just didn't have the ability to deal with it. And so this becomes this dense singularity of hucha. That's definitely not love, right? It's not love. It is a terrible, terrible experience that that is some distortion of your own identity, right? And so this is what becomes this like very dense hucha that becomes an imprint. And it can be an imprint in this reality, right, from your childhood. It can even be an imprint from a past life. And interestingly enough, the Andeans don't believe in past lives. They believe that this life is, they don't believe in past lives. They believe that there's just this life. So to me, you know, that describes to me their relationship with time, that really, you know, these past lives are really concurrent lives happening together. So you could have an experience in a concurrent life that's right next door to yours, and this imprint can be present, and it can be totally influencing what's happening in this life, right? So the idea is not just to remove hucha, but really to get to the root of this experience that you're having that's causing suffering in your life, and remove the imprint, which is itself hucha, right? One of the amazing parts of the Indian tradition is this idea of hucha is you can also think of as separation. Because we come into this reality and we experience the forgetting of who we are, right? Because in reality, we are divine beings of light, right? You are loved unconditionally. You are loved unconditionally. Why? Because you're made from love. You're created from love. But we come into this experience forgetting who we are, forgetting what we are, right? Forgetting that we are this love. And instead, we have these sometimes terrible experiences, right? So that is separation. Separation is consciousness that is unaware of its own divinity. And you might think, well, you know, why would we sign up for this? Why would we sign up for this terrible, terrible experience, right? Because we're leaving this world where we're loved. Yeah, well, you know, learning goes very slowly in a place where you are omniscient and you are love and you don't experience a whole lot of variety, right? So when we come here, the variety of experiences we can have is just off the charts. You can actually experience what it feels like to be unloved, or that you're not loved, or that I'm unworthy, right? And so all this is hucha. All these distortions of truth, right? And the truth is love, right? Love is the only truth, right? And so you can think of Sami as that quality of love, right? That quality of energy, right? But there's parts of us that are not aware of it, right? Are not aware of our own divinity. And so you can also think of hucha as those parts of us, right? So really the Andean cosmovision allows you to view consciousness at various levels, and ultimately to be able to see that with a high enough level of awareness that you could be able to clear out hucha that is causing an imprint, right? So so that's a lot of what I do, is again just you know, working with these tools of the Indian tradition, helping people remove imprints, and again removing hucha, and as you remove hucha, right, more Sami comes in, and as you experience more Sami, you start to experience more well-being, which allows you to then move to a new level of awareness, that you can think of as a map, right? Where prior to that point, you had a map that says, oh, I can't do this, I can't finish this, or I'm just not able to do this, or I can't forgive this person, right? I can't forgive them for what they did to me. So these are the things that are this heavy, dense energy, hucha, that we want to remove. And once you remove these are like anchors that kind of keep you anchored in. It allows you to move up in awareness to a new map that allows you to have new experiences. More importantly is it allows you to be aware of the choice that you don't have to choose this suffering that you may have been in. So beautiful, beautiful tradition. And one of, I would say, another, probably the most important part of, I would say, the Andean tradition is what is called munai, which is, munai is Quechua for unconditional love. But unlike the unconditional love that I was describing to you, which was literally me having the awareness of my divine being, that it telling me, hey, you're created from love. You are love, right? You are loved unconditionally. What munai is my ability to choose love, that it is love under my will. So I would say to you that this is the most powerful expression of love. Because unlike this divine love that we may experience, right? You may have maybe fleeting moments of that, right? Munai, the unconditional love, which is love that is under my will. It is unconditional because it is under my will, which means I choose that the love and light of my being, I choose that it will be, I choose that I will be a source of that love. I choose that that love will shine through me, right? That I remove any conditions within me to that love. And let me tell you, that's a real doozy, right? It's one thing to experience divine love. It's another thing to say, I'm going to remove all the barriers within me, and I'm going to choose that love again and again and again and again, right? And the Andean tradition is, that's one of the beautiful things about it, is that it has within it this energy medicine that is continuously helping you to make this choice. Because it is the awareness that what we come from, right, is the truth that all roads return to love. All roads return to love. And eventually you have to choose that. You come to this awareness and you choose that, yes, I'm going to walk this path. I'm going to walk this path of love. And I'm going to remove all the barriers that stand in my way to doing that. That is munai. And that is an expression of unconditional love that becomes your gift to the world. And to bring this to where we are now, I feel like this is such a huge moment where we are now, because we are finally waking up from this dream. Again, this reality is a projection of consciousness. You can think of it as a living dream you're in. For the first time in humanity, our collective, the expression of our collective awareness, right, which is all our dreams entangled together, right? You could think of this as a collective dream where each of us are being asked to wake up from the life that we are living that's just not sustainable, right? It could be whatever we may be dealing with, fear, addictions, the numbing out of ourselves from the day-to-day grind that we put ourselves through, the frenetic pace that we are living our lives through, going at a pace that's just not sustainable, right? The abuse that we put on our planet, right? Not sustainable, right? This is the dream that we're being asked to wake up from. And so it doesn't matter where you are in that process in your evolution, you're going to be waking up. You're going to be asked to wake up. And I am too. I've been seeing it in myself, like, oh my God, I've been living my life this way and I just can't live this way anymore, right? So to me, what is it that we are, this is the important question, what are we waking up to, right? So, people have, I'm on social media a lot, people talking about like, what's going to happen when this is all done. Honestly, I don't think we even know what's going to happen when this is all done. This is going to play out over a couple of years. But if I were to say anything, what I would want is I would want to be able to live my life in that space where I can remove the barriers to that light that's trying to come through me, and that I may be able to share that with others. So, and the only way you can do that is to wake up and realize what is it that I'm here to share with the world? What is it that I'm here to express? And I feel this is the intention that's really going to unfold and transform the world when we free ourselves from these structures that have been put in place to pacify us and control us, and entering into a world of expression, right? And what is it we really want to share with each other? And we have everything to do it. We have, look at this, look at what I'm doing here. I'm sharing with everybody. And so I think this is just going to be amplified more and more as we move through this experience. So before we leave, I'd like to share something else from the Andean tradition. One of the beautiful things that the Andean tradition brings with it is a whole set of energetic tools that you can use to manage your own energy. And so what I'd like to share with you is a meditation, an energy meditation, that'll help you remove hucha from your energetic system. And so, what I'd like you to do is just get comfortable. We're going to do maybe just a 10-minute meditation. And I'm going to walk you through this. And so just get comfortable, sit someplace where we can really tune in. And I'm just going to give you some prompts, and we're going to journey into the Andean cosmovision. So the first thing I want you to feel is around you, there's a bubble. This bubble is in the Andean tradition called your pokpo. It is your energetic bubble. This bubble is an energetic barrier. It is your sovereignty. And so imagine now an opening at the top of that bubble. And I want you to now picture or feel a cord extending from the top of your head all the way to the stars. And now feel that cord of energy right, is connecting to a star or maybe a constellation. And as you do, now feel energy coming down this cord into your bubble, right? And as it does, this stream of Sami, this is Sami, right? This is the good energy that comes from nature, from the stars, from Earth, Pachamama. So we bring in this Sami, and it's now a stream that's coming into your bubble, right? And so imagine this stream starting to fill your bubble, right? Now, at the bottom of your bubble, right, just below the base of your seat, imagine creating an opening in that bubble, right? And from the base of your spine, feel a cord lowering down into the Pachamama, Mother Earth. And so from this cord, now allow any heavy energy that is within your bubble to drain out the bottom. And as it drains out, it goes deep into Pachamama, deep into Mother Earth. Pachamama loves Hucha. She will mulch it and convert it back into Sami. So she's assisting us in relieving us of this Hucha. And now just, again, feel the heavy energy of the Hucha draining from the bottom of your bubble. And as it does, make a note of the quality of the energy of the Hucha. Is it oily? Is it very thick and gooey, right? Is it black? Is it brown? What does it feel like as it's running out the bottom, right? As it runs out the bottom, just allow it to drain, and you can feel in your bubble where the top of that Hucha is, right? Where it is filling your pokpo, your bubble. It may be halfway. It may be halfway full. Your bubble may be halfway full of Hucha, maybe just a quarter full. But as it's draining out, you can see the level of it starting to fall lower and lower as you drain this Hucha from your bubble. And as it's draining, you are bringing in Sami from the stars, and it is replacing the Hucha. And you can feel the Sami hitting the surface of the Hucha. And as the Hucha goes down, your bubble is now filling with this celestial Sami. Now the Hucha is almost gone. Maybe there's a little left. And if there's still some there that you perceive, you can always speed it up. You have control over this energy, right? You can, through your intention, I want this to move faster. I want it to drain faster. You can speed it up. You can have it drain faster. continuing to drain this hucha. Now, at its final moment there, those last bits of hucha being drained into Pachamama, we now allow the Sami to fill the space, literally filling our pokpo, our bubble, with the light, celestial Sami, this pure, undistorted energy comes from nature, from the stars, from Pachamama. And we allow that to just slowly fill our pokpo all the way to the top. And as it's full, we now disconnect our cords. We stop the flow of Sami from the stars into our pokpo, and we pull that cord in from the stars back into our bubble, back into the top of our head, and we close our bubble at the top, and we go to the bottom and we pull in the cord from Mother Earth, Pachamama, up inside, and then we close the opening. And the last thing we do is we want to clear the outside of our bubble, because as we interact with other people, we may accumulate hucha on the outside of our bubble. So just imagine, or just feel you removing the hucha from the outside of your bubble. And you can do this. I oftentimes feel it as like a squeegee that I'm using to just scrape off the hucha from the outside. Or it could be a stream of water, like a waterfall. You can imagine your pokpo under a waterfall. Whatever feels right to you. Whatever feels right to you, you use that to remove the hucha off the outside of the bubble, leaving it squeaky clean. And when you're done, you feel like the outside of your pokpo is squeaky clean, no hucha. You can withdraw whatever you're using there, water, and just sit now in your pokpo and just feel what that feels like. And then slowly come back to the present space. Just wiggle your body, squeeze your legs, and bring yourself back to this space. So that is, by the way, that meditation is called Samanchakwi. It is, that is a Quechua word for Sami, shower of Sami. Sami, Samin is good energy. Shakwi is Quechua for shower. So this is one of the primary energetic practices of the Andean tradition, and is how the Andean shamans, what they do to basically manage their own energy. So you could do this practice. I do this practice every morning, but you can do this anytime you feel that heaviness, right, of whatever you're going through, whatever heaviness that you may be experiencing now through this period of uncertainty and anxiety, or you know, or just, you know, your daily grind, right, is to be able to move that hucha out and replenish the supply of Sami in your pokpo, your energetic field. So so that's it. That's Saman Shakwi.
Thank you so much. That was really awesome.
You are very welcome.
I really liked everything you were saying about being love, and we are love, and we're made from love, and you know, we forget that, all of that, and it's just really. So I do have one question. You don't take people through like ayahuasca journeys?
Oh no, no. Yeah, I want to be very clear about that. The Andean tradition is energy medicine.
Gotcha.
I don't use plant medicine in my practice. That's a different tradition of, although it's been part of my personal journey of healing. Again, that's a separate thing.
Cool. Awesome. And where, does anyone have any questions or comments? Thoughts, experiences that they want to share, anything?
I just want to say thank you so much, Anthony. Really beautiful, and I really do have hope for us. I was all cozy in my hammock out there in the dark, and now I'm back inside. But it was really nice. But I really love what you're saying, that we have the hope to come out of this in a different way. You know, we're being asked to wake up from the things that aren't sustainable and are no longer serving us, and it's huge.
It's
it's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I believe that yes, together we can create this. So I'm hoping that we all choose we all choose that.
So where can people, I put your website in the chat so that people
Oh, you
can.
did? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so people can go to the website, and there's lots of information on my practice and how my contact information, email, and if anybody's interested in setting up a session.
Thank you so much. I have a growling dog on the bed, so you might hear her. Yeah, thanks again. It was awesome.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me on. I'm so glad to be able to share.
Yeah, and this is recorded. Hope I should have mentioned that before. If anyone didn't want to be on the recording, sorry. But it's on the Austin Wellness Collaborative YouTube channel. It will be up there. And yeah, Lexi needs some shamanic healing herself. And, you know, we do have our directory of providers and practitioners of all kinds, if anyone is looking for any healing. So that's austinwellnesscollaborative.org/directory. And I think Anthony's on there. I'm pretty sure you are.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, thanks for coming. And
yeah.
Next session is Friday morning at 9, and it'll be Michael Benavidez doing the foam rolling part 2. So we did the front body, now we're going to do the back body. So same time,
Cool.
same channel, same Zoom channel.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.